Hello, everyone. After a short hiatus, we are back for another episode of the Surprise Legal Podcast. Joining me are Luke, Bryan, and Ben.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
All right, so we've got a lot to cover in this episode. Hopefully, it won't run on too long, but we'll try our best. But to kick things off, card reveals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we starting with here? Heaven's Feel, now that it's out, or we go?
Yeah, we
with,
can
more
do.
recent
We've talked
stuff?
a lot about Heaven's Feel in previous episodes, but I think it's probably about the point where we wrap things up with it.
Previously there weren't many cards out yet. I think there was only the Brainstorm. I think the Saber combo. That's about it. I think before that.
And in my opinion, all it needed to become top tier was, even after just the Brainstorm and the Shimakaze reveals, all it needed was an actual good finisher, which is something that it kind of lacked in.
Yeah, it didn't. Heaven's Feel was trash. Let's be honest here. The booster pack as a whole, it was just trash. It's not something that should be out in 2019.
Yeah, I think
this is a hot take.
When we put it in a weird way the other day, it said something like, it's got loads of cool cards, but it's missing the glue in between. And that's kind of still the case. It's slightly improved, but it's still not there.
I think the reasoning is that the previous sets, all the old sets, were meant to be the glue in the first place, and they kind of are. Yeah. They're just not good glue.
In a way, they are, and to be honest, the Brainstorm, the fact that we have a tap self, non-trait, non-name discriminating Brainstorm, plusing Brainstorm, is already it's more glue than I thought we were ever going to get, basically. So that in itself is something, at least.
I think that in modern Weiss, at least, something has to a set has to have something that sets it apart from other sets, be that a nutso finisher, even going back, a nutso finisher like Chino Kokwa, for example. Obviously, it doesn't hold up quite as well now, but that's what sort of kickstarted this. Or it's got to have something that's some ridiculous hyper compression bullshit like Hino Logic had before that got hit by the ban list. And I just don't see the only unique thing that to me that Fate does, even without Heaven's Feel, was the whole Burn 6 thing. And it didn't really get that much support for that.
Zarech, I think, has gotten enough support, I think with the new cards, it's actually, I would make an argument, and I haven't really tested it yet, but I would make the argument that it's become very viable.
I see.
It's the Brainstorm definitely helps a lot. The fact that you can now basically use the clock as your second hand via its second effect, the Shimakaze combo, the early play, the Amagi as well. I think those are the main cards that got really important and will really buff the Zarech build.
But is it strong enough to compete with the likes of a Yukina finish?
There was one problem. There was one big problem that Zarech had before, and that was honestly that was the easiest thing your opponent could do. Leave your waiting room empty, and Zarech can't stack. That was the only thing that kind of held Zarech back, and there was a solution for it. In the form of the 1/1 stock swap event. It's a green event, and the requirement was you needed basically 3 or more green characters on the field, and because of how there weren't any good green characters beforehand, it just wasn't viable, full stop. Not so much now the Shimakaze combo, because now we've moved basically from I think it was blue, red, and green to now removing blue entirely and running yellow more. So green is definitely has definitely made the stock swap active, at least, and this would mean that you're leaving stuff unless your opponent's got 0 stock, you've got the waiting room to stack, basically.
Yeah.
I think the thing about the Shimakaze though is that, to go on about what Luke said about how sets have to have unique design. The fact that you've gone from a on attack draw combo to a Shimakaze combo, it's still not unique. Compare it to say Eren. like Eren is probably one of the most unique level 1 combo designs, well, other than Astolfo now, but like of that type. And now there's the one from the Strike, which is one from Sneaker Bunko. But like, it's not just a generic on reverse. Like, there's nothing that sets it apart. It's kind of a similar story with Yamagi as well. Like, if you look at all these sets that had like, oh, Shimakai, like the first Shimakaze combo was Kantai, and that just like that was the original generic good stuff deck. And then we moved on to like Nisekoi, which had pendants and Marika, and then we moved on to like we gradually then moved on to like ReZero, which had the level 2 compression play. So I think the issue is that even though you're moving to green and you have stock swap, which is I think stock flush is one of the 2 things that every good deck should have in this current format. Like, even though you now have access to that, again, there's still nothing setting it apart is the problem.
I think the burn 6, the play for Zelresh at the end, the fact that that's the finisher, that you can technically finish the opponent during the main phase, is pretty cool. I would agree though. Like anything in between level 0, because level 0 has the clock on core, but anything at level 1 and level 2, bar the free fresh, it's pretty boring.
I mean, it's interesting, yeah, but like that's not. I don't think that's what we mean by unique. What we mean is like, for example, if you compare, say, Yukina to I don't remember her name, but the rabbit from Sneaker Bunko to Kaleidoscope, these are all like not just powerful but very good and unique finishers. Whereas an event that just burns 6, it's unique, yes, but it's not super reliable. Like, you have to invest resources into making it happen. It's not a thing that you just play. I think that's the issue there.
It's not the event itself that's unique. It's the setup towards the event, where you stack your opponent's deck to confirm the event. That's what makes it unique, and that's what needs the you need like some ridiculous like making that consistent.
It's the Rin. The one Rin is what makes it special. Basically,
it's definitely not easy to get there. If anything, it takes a lot of practice to know when to grab what. Basically,
I mean, people were playing big burn since forever. Like, ever since Vivid Red with an on attack pay 3 burn 5. Like, you know, then we had Pumpkin, which was on reverse pay 3 ditch 1 burn 5. Like, big burns have been around for a while. It's just that the way Fate gets there is that it confirms it with the 1/1 Rin. And I think the 1/1 Rin is unique. But even then, like, it's not unique in a way that makes you want to play it. It's unique in a way that you have to play it to make the rest of the deck good.
Well, it's like, I think the problem is that the uniqueness is split along like the 1/1 Rin and the Zelrecht event. Whereas something, if we go so far back as like the OG broken card, right? If you go back to like Marika, it's an all-in-one package.
Exactly.
You slam a Marika down,
it just happens
on attack, and then restart.
Yeah,
it just happens.
For the
There's no setup
build
required. You just need pendants.
I mean, you can go back even further than that. If you go all the way back to Angel Beats, like, you had the 1/0 Kanade that gave everything hand on core, so you just set up a field of 1/1/8/5s that could just be hand on core forever. Like, that was self-contained.
Yeah, the problem very much lies with the fact that there is no plan B for Zelrecht if things go really badly.
Yeah.
And that is the main issue. Also, because we're moving away from the Ilya combo, which was on the stock soul, and going to 8 bars, basically, there will be stock problems. There will be slight stock problems.
I mean, the alternative would be to just drop Zelrecht and just play, like, a regular, quotation marks, straightforward meta build of, like, you know, green, yellow or something, and play, like, Shimakai into Musashi and whatever other finisher you might have.
The problem, though, is that, exactly what you mentioned, the Musashi is one standout finisher, and if a Musashi is a standout finisher in Fate, that says a lot about the quality of
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, you're just playing like a subpar version of another meta deck. But like,
essentially.
I think that's the fundamental issue. That's just what Fate's always been.
Yeah, we like Musashi has gone from something that used to be strong enough to be considered like a main finisher to something that's a side finisher in Bang Dream, where you play a Yukina and maybe you play a Musashi as well alongside the Yukina, but it's never your main finisher.
It's like, oh, I don't have enough cards to discard for the second Yukina. Yeah.
Honestly, right now, Fate, when it comes down to it, the viable builds, and actually, as in the builds you would actually try and bring to tournaments at least, I guess, would be either Zelrecht, the new green deck, or basically the 8/2 Soul Rush, because these are the only things you can kind of run.
Coin flip, right?
No, I'm looking at the new Shiro combo, the one on the 2 Soul.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that one
I
with
still think Rider Coin Flip is still a very viable deck.
Coin
Rider
Flip
the
is
Rider
also
Gilgamesh deck.
that one has a problem with reversing the Gilgamesh though. It's just not big enough.
Absolutely. But like, you now aren't reliant on the Gilgamesh because you now have a Magi and stuff. So you can just play a regular Rider deck and just have a few extra soul triggers for the top end.
Hmm.
I mean, it's still not great, but I think it's
it's not going to be too good. I guess you have the Mirai ticket Archer. I guess that's another finisher. You can consider
I mean,
that.
like,
but
I like this Mirai.
the traits don't all exactly line up, but you can still you can still play your Coin Flip Lancers at level 0 into a Shimakai into your Gilgamesh.
yeah, but yeah, it's not going to be any good really. I think at the end of the day, post Heaven's Feel release, I still think Zorak is going to be the deck to play basically if you're actually looking to play Fate, because I don't think anything else right now will compete with the meta decks or the top tier decks that people are bringing around, and Zorak arguably can't even really live up to that either. It can only kind of catch up on a good day, and that's about it. That's sadly how Fate is right now.
I'd be tempted by Bar into Rin and Archer 2 Soul, but with Zelrich as an option, because then you're playing an otherwise average deck at its quote unquote floor, but then it has Clock on Core Globals and the option to just stack a deck and burn 6.
Fate's ability to have the Clock on Core at level 0 is pretty amazing. The fact that you can just try field randomly at level 0 and not care is quite cool, I guess, but it's not game breaking per se. I feel like it's basically. I feel like if you're not a Fate fan, I don't see why you would buy Fate basically at this point.
Even if it's not game breaking, I think Clock on Core Global is the reason to pick Fate. If you're a Fate fan or not, to be honest.
I don't know about that.
Greedy.
I think the level ones just aren't good enough to warrant it.
See, I feel like that's almost the same as saying something like, "Oh, the reason to pick Phantom is because you can anti-clock kick," and it's
it is like saying like,
but that's not a reason.
Like the reason to pick Phantom.
You're literally comparing Fate to Angel Beats there, because you're talking about a card that does the exact same thing.
What, Clock Encore?
Not Clock Encore, but Hand Encore. Like you're talking about a card that just gives global encore. But the difference between Angel Beats and Fate is that there's three. Fate doesn't have Operation Tornado. B, Fate doesn't have a way of like making incredibly good and efficient walls. And C, Fate doesn't have a way of gaining free stock to compensate for it.
I just think every single character having Clock 1+1 is pretty good.
It's cool, I would say that, but honestly, as a Fate player, I really want to triple Clock Encore, but that's never a good idea, basically, and you would never basically do that.
It's too risky.
You can't. You have no way of recuperating the loss.
You will never triple Clock Encore. Basically, you will only Clock Encore one character at most, usually 2 if you're feeling lucky, I guess, and if you triple cancel the turn before. 3 if you're doing a Zelrech turn, I guess. But like apart from that, the Clock Encore is kind of niche. It's there. It's there, honestly, sometimes to feel like as a consolation, kind of like it probably my field won't die completely, but it doesn't actually help that much.
I think it just feels that way because you have no efficient beat sticks. Like, there's no good standby targets. There's no like easy wall. You don't have a big counter to constantly.
I actually feel like the Clock Encore is one of the reasons why Busher has never printed out good cards for Fate, because they're very afraid of breaking Fate. So if you think about it, at level 1,
sure.
Our biggest wall, and I say wall with a certain degree of irony here, is that it's a 1-0 promo Rin from UBW2, and that one is a mandatory memory kick, and your opponent can just abuse that. It's kind of sad. It's a 6.
I'd probably think the best one is the 1/1 Vanilla Rider from Fate Zero that has an apples.
But that doesn't get Clock Encore, so that's the problem.
Oh right, it's wrong trait. Yeah. So
that's another problem Fate has.
There's like an oversized that has a top check and not Clock one on play.
Oh god, that one. Okay, that one has another issue. Yeah, it can more than often. Yeah, you would take 1 damage more than often.
Yeah, because, I guess if they printed like a standby and like a 2/2, if they printed like what's her name, the Elizabeth clone, but Rin, like. That would maybe have alleviated some of the issues, but then you'd just be a bad sort out, right?
Yeah, at that point, why not play SAO? If you're not a Fate fan, that is. And SAO comes with a money counter, which Fate still doesn't have for some reason.
It's sad that I'm just sitting here thinking like, oh man, just here's how you break it. Just give it the Summer Pockets 2-1 combo, and then the Clock Encore, and yeah, fuck it.
No, honestly, what it needed was a stocking combo at level 1. If it had like a Shizuru clone from Rewrite, for example, at level 1, a combo like that, regardless, if it was on a bag, for God's sake, I would have taken
I think on Shizuru would be nuts. Like if you got Shizuru, like a straight Shizuru clone,
that'd be a bit really good, yeah.
That'd be too good at that point.
You'd be basically strictly better rewrite at that point.
I think you'd still take like
that you can either
you'd still take
what's the gloves though, if you get access to gloves. If you don't get access to gloves, you just Clock Encore them.
Yeah,
you get more stock the next time.
No, but that's different though. Like rewrite only generates stock, whereas like Fate is trying to do other stuff.
Yeah.
If we had a stocking combo, Zerash would actually become ridiculously broken because
I think
of the
if you had a
ability to
stocking
keep
combo,
resting.
you'd go. That's when you'd start playing the soul support, sure, right?
Yeah.
Then you just fill your board with like 105Ks that have 2 soul, and then on attack combos blind stock. Like I would even take that, like just a 105K on attack blind stock if you have like 2 or more other or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
We actually have one now. It's 1055, I think. Sakura. It's a green.
Oh, that one,
uncommon. Yeah. That one's.
It combos with 2K1 though, right? Or is it split 2K?
No, I think it doesn't have a climax combo at all. I think it's just on reversible level 1 or higher, something like that. You can blind stop, but it's
when you use an active proxy effect return or something like that.
I had to look at it. I've ordered 2 of it, but I don't think I'm going to use it at all because there simply isn't room for it in any deck. I've looked around. The problem with Fate really comes down to the fact that there is no core. There doesn't feel like it. There's too much stuff floating around, and things need to everything needs to go in to make the deck click. If it doesn't, then it's not going to work. If it's missing an Alcester clone, if it's missing the Riki, if it's missing the spammable brainstorm because that top checks, there's a lot of stuff basically that needs to kind of be there, and it's really hard to put in anything of use without taking something else of use out. At the end of the day, what you're left with is a mediocre set of tools that kind of pale in comparison to everything else, like you guys mentioned.
Okay, so since this is getting pretty depressing, I think it's time to move on. To quickly wrap this up, what do you guys think is the best Fate build?
Zerash by far, I think, right now. Followed by the 2-soul build.
I like, as someone who doesn't know much about Fate at all, my brain is saying it's probably Zalrich, but my heart is saying you just go into the Gilgamesh that fucks your opponent's climax and laugh.
I still think it's the coin flip build for now, just because that's at least it has like anti-meta options.
Oh, right. Speaking of anti-meta, can I just really quickly mention the Ilya deck that got a bit of a boost? It's viable now, as in it can be played now at least. Because it's now got a brainstorm and early play, and now the 2-0 sack counter can actually work now. So that's a deck, I guess, for Ilya fans out there.
Talk about Ilya, right?
Yeah, and an excuse to talk about Ilya, and the depressing fact that Ilya didn't get much, but it's got an early play now. So yeah, rejoice, Ilya fans.
Cool. So I guess a lot of the reason we talk about Fate so far is not many of the other reveals have actually been that exciting, at least in my opinion.
I mean, so not Sneaker Bunko, Fantasia Bunko got they got a level 0 stock swap, which was it's interesting. I think it's pretty cool. I kind of I like it because
it's solid. It's just also a beat stick.
It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same cost as if you were playing a level 3, like a 3/2 with on play pay 1 stock swap, which is the standard effect. But you have the opportunity where
event, right?
Yeah, sure, but being on a character makes it cost a little bit more because you can grab it easier.
Exactly.
So like the standard, what we've seen from characters standard is a 3/2 with pay 1 on play.
Sure.
This being a level 0 pay 3 on play, basically it just opens up that if your opponent has already snowballed out of control by level 2 and you need to desperately get that sorted. You need to be able to push damage, otherwise you can't finish them. You can drop this down a level 2, pay 3, and just go, okay, that's sorted, and they're going to have to rebuild it, which is not optimal because you're probably not going into your finishing turn then. But the whole point of stock swap is to mitigate them spiraling out of control and basically making the game unwinnable.
No, the whole point of stock swap is to guarantee the kill on your opponent, surely.
I don't know.
I think both, really.
What if they're 2-0 and they've already spiraled out of control? You want to hit them with the stock swap when you reach 3, but from 2-0, even with a stock swap, you probably won't.
Yeah, I think both.
So
both
you want to drop.
I feel
like
both. Yeah, both.
In my opinion, more useful in Ben's scenario. But that's probably because of
it's definitely more useful, but
playing Bang Dream and Stock Swap Fumio.
I think for that reason though, like this card becomes a little bit worse because compared to like an event, right? Like with the event, it costs less stock, so you have more stock for your finisher. And at least with a character that's level 3, it's an extra soul on the board. So like,
I do like this as a level 0 in itself.
The card is great, absolutely.
It's a 2/5. It's a 2/5 beat stick, and I do like that. At least on your turn.
Yeah,
so. It's like a 1/5 gains 1k during your turn, right?
Yeah, it's a 1/5 gains 1k, so it's not too bad. So if you draw it at level 0 and it's useless, you can still just throw it out there and kill something.
Yeah, the ultimate takeaway is it's not too different from a 3/2 pay 1 anyway. The largest takeaway is that Fantasia Bunko got a stock swap of any description. It got a stock swap, so that's one of the key things a deck needs in the current format to survive. So
not
whether it's going to get other stuff, then we'll see. We haven't had that many reveals for it yet.
We've had a fair few. It's just been series based.
It did get a
we
clock
haven't
kick,
seen
a non-climax combo clock kick, which is pretty neat.
We haven't seen anything like. I haven't seen anything that's like, oh, this is the crazy level 3 or this is the crazy level 1. We've just seen like bits and pieces here and there where it doesn't really feel that synergistic. I don't know. We also had the really weird. Was it a 2/1 with 2 soul? That's 500 power.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a jank card. It's a weird card.
On play minuses some power from your opponent's board. And
minus 1/5 to your opponent's front row. Like just a fat minus 1/5 to opponent's front row. It's like 500 power, 2 soul, 2/1. The fact that it's like I
get an extra trigger check as well.
Yeah, like most of these cards, I saw that card and was like, and then I looked down and saw it had 2 soul and was like, oh. So, I think it's.
I mean, it's neat and all, but it still feels like Fantastic Bunko is there's not much basically. It's all been mediocre utility, and that's about it. I think
they're deliberately trying to like stifle it a little bit, just in case they get any of the series they're in there as a standalone thing. Probably, it's not. It's meant to be a fan set. It's not meant to be a big player in the game, I don't think.
I also really like the 2/1 mech. I'm not familiar for the series to know what it's from.
It's It's a Full Metal Panic, right? No, it's not. Is it?
No.
2/1 what?
No.
It's like a 2/1 mech. I don't actually know what the show is, or what the light novel is. I just say, but it's like a 2/1 2/5. On play, it gets a 1/0 as a marker, and if it has a marker, it gets 8/5.
It's kind of which is on. Yeah, that's
yeah.
That's one of the series I'm actually going into this. It's one of the series I'm actually buying Fantasia for. It's the thing is like a lot of the stuff we've seen for that series, the council one so far, has just been like you've got the 1/0 that works with the other 1/0, and then you've got the level 0 that standbys and then stands the 2/2 or the 2/1. Like it's just the thing is like because based on what we've seen so far, I think the 1/0 pants combo that stock charges is probably your best bet. So seeing like these 2/1s and the 1/0s that kind of like barely interact with each other, but like all look for like specific named stuff is really upsetting.
I guess we talk about SAO for a little bit because SAO had some okay cards. Shame they are all
too bad. Yeah.
Well, SAO has loads of good cards. It's just a different deck.
Standalone.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it'll be the same as it'll just be the same as Persona 5, right?
Pretty much.
There'll be a really good Floodlight deck coming out, and then people play that a bit, and then realize that traditional good stuff is just better.
I mean, I don't think we ever got to that point with P5 where we thought P4 was better, but
No, but it's the opposite basically.
yeah.
So, because people will eventually realize that the card stuff is good, but it's not that good.
I think as it stands, nothing worth you changing from using Yuki. So
Yeah.
right?
It's like GGO 2.0, essentially.
GGO,
Except
but still Neo
You can technically play it. Don't know why you would, but you can.
Yeah, I mean there were some.
Asuna Waifu
Asuna
is probably a little bit happy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Asuna cards, other legacy support for the set, very much.
Yeah.
I think the
we
last
got-
thing for card reveals now is talking about JoJo.
No, we don't want to talk about JoJo. I'm too upset.
I'm afraid we have to. We've already had a few TD cards, but we had the
So
unfortunate news
can
that
I
it's going to have
describe my
licensing
experience?
issues. Oh yeah,
okay.
sure, go for it.
My experience with JoJo is start of the year, I'm like, I'm quitting Weiss. Weiss is boring now. I don't care. Then Bushiroad goes, we're releasing JoJo, and I go, all right, I'm not quitting Weiss. Going to buy a case of JoJo. And then they go, oh no, you can't play it in the West. And I quit Weiss again. So I'm a JP only player now. I'm just gonna only play Weiss in Japan. It's
just a good thing.
this is what Bushiroad has done to me, and I'm gonna call this out now. I'm gonna teach Bushiroad a lesson I'm gonna qualify from Japan and then win Worlds, and they will face the ultimate defeat, and they will realize the power of the West.
Mm-hmm.
This is my revenge.
Highest
It's totally
better star for Bushiroad, Singapore. Big thing.
TD reveals are okay. It's pretty.
I don't like the God experience. I think it's. I like what they were trying to do, and it's good from a flavor point of view.
Yeah.
But it's just a depressing card to read, no matter how many times you read it.
Yeah.
Feels like Bushi is still experimenting with the whole bring out something for free kind of effect. They still haven't really put down a model for it yet.
I think the brainstorm we saw, even though it's something we've seen before, is still decent. Like you're not going to use it in like the main deck, but if you're just going to buy a TD, it's not a bad brainstorm in a TD plus. So I don't know.
It's one of the worst ones, but it's playable.
I don't know. I don't think it's that bad.
I mean, there are worse brainstorms in the game, yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's worse brainstorms in a lot of main
but I don't think
so.
There's worse brainstorms that have come in a TD plus specifically.
I don't know about that.
I think
it depends on how much like the series interacts with the deck, but based just on what we've loosely seen, it feels like JoJo is going to be another cookie cutter, Darling in the Franxx-esque mimic. Which itself was a Gurren Lagann mimic. So
I don't think we can discern that from the TD plus though. We've only seen TD plus cards, and TD pluses are always generic and whatever. It's very rare for us to actually find like a card from a TD plus that's like, oh yeah, that's an instant 4 of in the main deck, unless it's a free runner. So I don't know. Until we start seeing card reveals from the actual.
I mean, the majority of
reserve my judgment.
If we go by the TD effect, the majority of this player stuff for free tends to be climax combo on play, pay 1, search for 2, and then put 1 into play or something or like pay 2 or something along those lines. Like we've seen it with the Ran, we've seen it with the Sakura, and we saw it with the other. What was the other one it came in? It came in a 2/2 once. I don't remember what series. I think it was the Capo. And then what else have we seen on? There's one other thing. We saw it on Owls and Kimono. And those have always been very noticeably meh.
Well, as far as this goes, it's just a TD so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna buy a case of it if it's good or bad. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
If it's bad, even better. Because if I win Worlds with it, then that'll really show.
it's more the case of like, if just from the TD reveals, it feels like they're going for a top-down design rather than a bottom-up design, and I think that's going to influence the quality of the cards in a negative way.
Makes sense.
Because realistically, right, like if you compare stands to how they work, it's kind of the same as like having lots of apples on the board. And apples used to be good, but I don't think they're good anymore.
Mm.
Well, hopefully, this is just a TD only design, and hopefully that doesn't
Yeah.
extend to the actual booster.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm spitballing by the actual booster here. Like, given the flavor of how stands work, how else would you like get stands to work in a card game design, right?
Markers, man. Just put face-up markers under the stuff. Is
basically.
how I
And
do
then,
it.
yeah, but then you'd just be a worse Gurren Lagann or a worse Franks.
ouch.
I don't know.
That
It depends.
would be pretty sad.
Depends how they could do it. I don't know. Either way, I think the real takeaway from the JoJo card reveals, and what I'm personally took away from it, is the fact that everything has golden wind trait suggests that they may hint at bringing other JoJo parts to Weiss.
I'm sure they'd like.
I don't see.
But I think it's going to be tough for them to do so.
It's less the fact that it's like, oh, yo, it's confirmed, but they're future-proofing this set on the pretense that they could potentially bring other sets forward. Where if they hadn't future-proofed it, it would make it a lot more difficult for them to bring other sets through, I guess, just because it would just be like, oh, everything synergizes. So, but with
Not
the whole
necessarily.
golden wind
I think it would just make it very restrictive.
I'd actually be afraid of JoJo falling into the same problem as Fate, since if I'm not wrong, it's split into stand and stand user traits, kind of like master and servant traits. That might end up being a problem.
Yeah, if they make everything just work with like Golden Wind trait, or if they bring other sets forward like Stardust Crusaders trait or something, then they can make it work that way. So I think the inclusion of the Golden Wind trait kind of signifies that just being there means they won't fall into this stand user and stand trait thing that Fate did with Master and Servant.
It could mean that new boosters, however, for other parts of JoJo probably won't be able to work very well then.
They probably won't work that well, but together. But at least we'll get them, hopefully. It's all speculation anyway. I just thought it was worth bringing up that
they'd be their own sets, effectively, right? The same way with Star Wars is that, like with Star Wars, you can mix the films, but it's really, really bad to do so outside of a few specific instances.
Yeah,
which is fine because then it just becomes again like another Persona, or another Sword Art, as it were, in this case now.
Yeah.
I think the main issue they have to tackle is just the case of historically, like we've seen time and time again, where it's been the case that popular series end up being bad decks.
Yeah.
So again,
now and then we get the now and then one that's like a good deck and it's a popular series, but it is few and far between. So
I think Sword Art was the last time that happened, right?
I mean, arguably Goblin Slayer. Arguably Goblin Slayer.
Yeah. I'd argue Goblin Slayer as well. Yeah, Goblin Slayer's fair.
I guess if you count Summer Pockets.
Summer Pockets popular? I think it was
in the VN circles. I guess it kind of was, but outside, not that much.
I don't know. I mean, it's key. How popular is key? They're the first name that I think of when I think of visual novels, but how true is that for Japan, I suppose?
But yeah, Bushiroad has just been kind of inconsistent. Good set, bad, good, and then bad again, all the way around.
It's weird. We can you get stuff like Overlord, which isn't outstanding, and then 2 sets later we get Goblin Slayer, and it's like, oh, okay. So I don't know. We can never know.
I guess we should move on to tournaments now, since we've got quite a bit of that to cover.
You guys can update me on what actually happened.
Yeah, considering we've been a week off, and the previous episode was now 3 weeks ago, we've actually got pretty much all of episode 5 in the UK to talk about. And I guess it makes more sense to talk backwards, since it gives us more time to think about the events that were a longer time ago. So yesterday we had War Games Workshops episode 5 in Milton Keynes, which is the only one that Bryan went to, and Ben. So at least you guys can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's that much to talk about. I think every single round I played was a train wreck in some shape or form. Like, I don't think I had a single fair game that all day. So
I actually agree. Apart from the first game I had against Donald, I had a pretty bad day. I was playing Fate Zelrach build pre Heaven's Field because my cards haven't arrived yet. So it was already. I mean, not playing Rabbits, which would normally be my first pick this year, and playing Zelrach instead, Faithful to Fate, was already a kind of a bad idea in the beginning. But
you came second though.
Yeah, but that was but so basically I went 3-2 and sneaked into top 8, coming 8th basically. Cheese Peter in top 8, cheese Brandon Cooper in top 4, and then I couldn't cheese Brandon in the finals. So
Came close though.
Came close to.
It was a fun game to watch, but like it's not what you would call an interesting game, sadly.
Yeah, old Zelrach basically had 2 plans: 2 soul for the win, or cancel for the win. They're really it's a pretty bad deck, all things considered. But so most of my games I started off with 5-6 climaxes out by turn 3 or 4, and but thank God Fate has an Astra clone at level 0, so it helped to mitigate problems. And it also helped that I wasn't up against any 2-soul decks, so it didn't get too bad. But day wasn't very good.
My day was also like pretty up and down. Where I had a couple of rounds in Swiss where it was like the game would be over really, really quickly. In particular, a game against Cabane where that's like one of the records for the highest, the fastest games I've had. It like only lasted 8 turns. But I heard Ben had one that was like only 9 turns as well. So
yeah, I was against Bryan.
Yeah, it's like a mess all over the room from the sounds of it.
I mean, like, so going by the 5 rounds, so round 1 I played against Lee, and that game was just the most one-sided bullshit I've ever experienced. He passed turn 1 doing nothing, and then I got triple Christmas Casimir. At one point, I went Christmas Casimir back to back, and at one point I had all 4 copies of the Stars event in my hand. Round 2, I played against Bryan. He managed to put me from 0.6 to 2.1, and then I just killed him with Yukina on killed him from 2.2. Round 3, I played against. Who did I play against round 3? I think I played against Brandon Cooper. He also had a pretty bad game where he went turn 1, guy climax, turn 2, single guy climax. And then round 4, I played against Peter. He was winning the entire game, and then he refreshes with 8 in, and then I just Yukina'd him to death blind from like 2.4. So he just took like 10 straight damage and died. Round 5 was against Cabane. And then the game I had against Cabane was the exact same game I had against Bryan, but the other way around. So I just like rushed him and then I died. Then top 8 I lost to Catherine. Because I just what happened to Peter happened to me. I just refreshed with 7 in and then just 8-10 and died. So yeah, like actually, I said, like no fair games all day.
The top 8 game I had against Peter was pretty amazing. I think it was the turn before I Zelrached him. He played the stock swap from Sal, and I had 11 stock. There was one climax in there, and I think that was 6 in, I think. He sticks. So he puts the top 11 in there, and then I proceed to cancel 3 times, and it turns out that 5 climaxes were in a row, like right after that or something like that. So
yeah, like stock. I was watching the game, literally stock top 11. Somehow he only capped the 1, and then there were 5 climaxes in a row left in Bryan's deck.
I was so worried as well because I was 3-1, I think, in a very kind of ish unfavorable compression scenario. Like, I think I had a good 28, 29 cards and 6 climaxes, so it wasn't that good, especially at level 3. So I was just praying that I had another turn so that I could then Zelrach him, and then somehow the stock swap failed for him. I don't know how, and the fact that 5 classes were stuck together really helped save my life there.
I mean, from what I've heard from other people, like the other events this season have been kind of a mess as well. Like Lee hasn't done super well. Brandon's only got a 3-1 record. Like it's all been here and there in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even shown up to anything. So
I mean, you quit, so.
Hey man,
Yeah, it's all been pretty
exams
janky.
are a bitch. Exams are a bitch.
I
Have not
agree.
been able to actually make it down, so bit of a shame. There is no good events up in the north, so.
Should we talk about the final, actually?
I guess I'll talk a little bit about what I mean, I haven't even mentioned what I was using first. I wanted to point out how I've had 2 wins so far this episode. And each of them have been with decks that I had put up for sale like a couple of days prior. So yeah, as soon as I put AOT up for sale, I think I'm just going to use it. Maybe it'll be my last time with it. Maybe make a couple of like more interesting changes, like a stuck an exchange counter because I was expecting some card captor and Goblin Slayer, and then I ended up winning. So that's cool.
You also went a bit more in on the Mikasa change engine as well, right?
Yeah, I remember like really enjoying it around when AOT2 first came out. I used it back in, was it Cologne BTS? And then as soon as I saw other lists using, like dropping that completely, using the topics early play and like Krista heal the stocks, I pretty much changed for them and didn't look back. But I need to try something new because AOT hasn't been clicking for me lately at all. If anyone knows me well enough, they'll know why. And it seemed to work out. I managed to change a lot, heal a lot. It was okay. I felt super Japanese. Yeah, the game I had against Bryan in the finals was actually so ridiculous.
I think it's one of the best games I've actually ever had, despite losing.
Like,
pretty
early game
amazing.
was a bit of a shambles, but like the closing turns, it was like 4 consecutive turns of each of us thinking we're about to die, and then we just don't die. And it was finished off by I only have 1 attack. It's a direct attack with a 1 soul beer, and it wins.
Yeah, at the end, I did make the misplay of playing Raw Zelrech, and then Brandon cancelled off on the 6th card. So,
see, I still don't think that was a misplay. It just didn't work out.
the thing was, I honestly wasn't going to play the event, but everyone was waiting for me to play the event, so I could not play it at that point. Pressure. And I was like, okay, if it's 3 stock to, throw a climax out there, what's the worst that could happen? And then yeah, that happened. And then after that, I actually still had 1 more chance of winning because the way it happened was that I had essentially a 1 soul swing and a 2 soul swing that a 2 soul swing and a 3 soul swing that eventually became a 5 soul swing followed by a 2 soul swing, and the cancels were actually on a 2 and on a 3. So if I actually just swung the Iliad last, I probably would have been okay. But then I don't know what I was doing.
Like there was like really no difference between it. You just happened to not fall in place, pretty much.
Yeah, basically. But it was still pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, those last turns.
Yeah, it happens. But yeah, even despite that, the ladder is ridiculously close between myself, Bryan, and Ewan. Like, it hasn't actually got promoted yet, but I like calc what it is at the moment. And there's only about 500 to 600 points between first and third.
Who's first right now? Is it still Ewan?
It's still Ewan. You're very barely behind, and I'm behind you by about 500 points.
Wow, I'm surprised I'm still up there, honestly. Now, I came in this year thinking I just won top 20, really.
I mean, you've made like top 8 at every single event so far you've been to, other than like 1 maybe.
If anything, it's mostly due to Gochusa and the fact that Summer Pockets was very much played everywhere, so it's helped.
What I've noticed is there's a pretty drastic difference in points between top 8 and top 4. So it's probably more being rewarded for top 4s. Since I've now had 3 wins in separate episodes, but my other 2 episodes are 5th place. And that's what's keeping me in 3rd. Whereas I'm pretty sure Bryan and Ewan have like made top 4 in every single episode.
Yeah. I think the fact that you can jump from around mid 1000s to around mid 2000s just because you win one more match from quarterfinals is pretty ridiculous. I'm not sure how I feel about this new change, honestly. Puts a lot more pressure in top 8.
As if we go back a couple more weeks to the weekend in Birmingham, where there's Chimera tournament on Saturday and Keep Birmingham on Sunday. And we've moved into a very weird timeline where Chimera tournaments have become pretty small and Keep Birmingham tournaments became pretty big.
14, I hear there were at Chimera.
14 at the Chimera, which I think is the first time, like since Euroliga started, that Chimera has had a less than 5-round tournament.
It'll go back up. It'll go back up.
I think it's exam time as well. That's why.
Yeah, it's a really awkward period of the year.
I'd usually be at Chimera if I didn't have exams.
Same. I honestly shouldn't have been at Milton Keynes either. But...
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the tournament that I had won at the start of the episode. So yeah, it's not quite as bad as Ewan's 3 wins in one episode, but I actually get a couple this episode. And I used SA at that point because it's a good deck and I wanted points pretty badly. And surprise, it worked out. And that was pretty cool because I'd used the League Strike Sin on Restander. And it actually helped me secure both of my top goal wins, including against Lee in the finals. So that was I was really happy with that choice. But the rest of it was just pretty generic this year. I think Lee was using rabbits. There wasn't much else exciting about that day.
Any standout games per se? Or?
Outstanding games. This is what happens when we record an episode this late after a tournament. I'm struggling to recount a lot. Oh, there was the game against Lee in Swiss, which is also pretty ridiculous. I think it was like the longest lasting game of Vice I've ever had. Where I think
this is a lie.
Is it now? I'll get back to that in a sec. But
yeah,
we basically we each had 3 turns at each level because we were cancelling that much. And I think we only finished the game on the last turn after time. And it was finished up by a maybe stock swap that could have sealed the game or won me the game depending on what he drew off a book or something like that. I decided that he did draw climax of a book and then I just gave him a clean refresh and it's weird. But yeah.
The actual longest game of Vice you've ever played was against me at Ewan's house, where Ewan's dog smacked beer all over the place. And then because you were so drunk, you just proceeded to forget we were playing Weiss. And it was only until half an hour later that I went, "Are we going to finish that Weiss game, Brandon?" And you were just like, "Oh yeah." We started playing again, and then halfway through we just forgot we were playing again.
Right.
And it took us an hour and a half to finish that game of Weiss.
Right, longest game by amount of turns, not longest game by how long it actually took. Do that for the last fiscal monthly.
So was Lee playing Dear My Sister Rabbits or Cococino?
Yeah, he's playing Dear My Sister. Probably inspired by how well you've been doing with it, to be honest.
Yeah, it feels like amusingly a better choice than Cococino right now.
At the moment, just because, like I mentioned those times before, the counter's pretty good against my pockets. It's just a consistent deck, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's got a lot of different things it can do at level 3, so it's got a lot of options available to it.
It's just all in all a very flexible deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really, really flexible.
Yeah, there wasn't really much else exciting about that camera, I think. Matt Mead used Priestess Goblin Save for the first time at that tournament. but he saw more success the following day when he changed his level 1 combo. Yeah, so the next day at Birmingham, there were 22 players, which is suddenly like the biggest one out there. And Ewan rolled up to the tournament almost too late, got in, and then won the thing. So
Yeah. Ewan's had a tendency lately of turning up to tournaments late.
I don't know if that's a tendency. Like,
I mean, it's kind of unintentional, but
yeah. You just choose to turn up to a tournament late.
Hey man, some people do.
I'm
not going to mention names.
Yeah, I just realized I was the only one there as well, so I can't even like ask you guys for what you remember anything from the day.
Yeah, I think we all miss Burn as well.
Yeah, I was not at any of the tournaments, so
I'm not gonna be able to offer too much because I wasn't low tables that day because I had a pretty torrid day with Milky and I ended up dropping that tournament. But yeah, Ewan kind of stomped through some pretty good Swiss rounds. Matmy got second with Goblin Slayer yet again. This time a very different build, probably what more considered to be the meta build.
Are we going to talk about
with Matt Mead and Goblin Slayer?
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about Ewan's 1 million IQ play in the final?
But his not attacking play.
Yeah,
he. I mean, I wasn't actually watching the final, so I can't really remember it, but I remember him being very excited about it. It's something along the lines of it being pretty favorable for him to just not attack in front of Triple Priestess, so he just didn't. And ended up sealing him the game.
Did he proceed to cancel off the top 3 times or something?
Probably something like that. Yeah,
he had like 1 in 4. He was like 1 in 4 on his compression. So his line of play there was, I'm 1 in 4. I don't want to trigger my climax, so I'm just gonna pass turn because I'm not swinging it for anything anyway because it's minus soul. So pass turn.
The statistics.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of 1 million IQ and Goblin Slayer, yesterday we also had Sam.
Yeah, okay,
it's pretty good.
The event.
Yeah.
I think Sam's still in the call, so why don't you unmute yourself and tell everyone what's going on?
Surprise guest, Sam.
Hi, guys.
Sam's been here the whole time, plot twist.
Oh, no.
What a big plot twist.
Hey, man, I had fun yesterday, so this was fine. But
Yeah, because you were playing Godzilla for the whole day after signing up with Goblin Slayer.
Yeah, so it's I got a pretty decent score from the Geeketry episode, so I was like, you know what, I'll just play whatever I feel like when I get asked. And wrote down that I was going to play Goblin Slayer because I had my deck on me, and it was Goblin Slayer level 1 into Priestess. But it was a different version of it, but that's not the important part. It was going into game 1 against Brandon Cooper, where I hit level 1 because I let him go second, and I play my torch, and he goes, "Don't you need a Goblin Slayer on field for that?" And I'm like, "Nah, that's the other torch." And then I look at my torch and notice that the counter symbol is not there, and I'm like, "Wait a minute! Oh no, I'm playing the wrong torch." The reason that was the case was because when I built the deck after I got my cards, I didn't have the TDs on me, so I proxied the counter torches with the booster, with like the torches from the booster pack, and just never got around to changing them. It's also worth noting that I didn't have the drop searches from the TD, and was instead running a 1/5 Priestess, which on play, top check if it's a character, marker it, gains 1/5 and a level.
Oh god.
I played that 3 times as like its actual card during that game, and whiffed on every single one of them.
Welcome to the club of probability.
Yeah. So after that, I was like, you know what? I'll take a loss for every game, and I'll just play whatever I want.
Yeah, I mean, this has become like a standard segment of the podcast where we just talk about Sam being
Something that I've done wrong.
doing dumb Sam things. Which moving on from that, Sam having to pay like a 50 quid fine for not having his train ticket on him.
And that was just an awkward case of miscommunication.
Mm.
And
So,
yeah, 50 quid on a train ticket, not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Virgin
That's
Trains?
always a good day.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize until I got from Milton Keynes to Birmingham in about half an hour that it was a Virgin train.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the mistake.
I was like, hey, I got here quick. That explains why I paid 50 quid for a goddamn train ticket.
I actually went on the wrong train as well that same day. I actually So basically, I bought. Of course, I didn't buy Virgin, and in my rush to get back because I have exams very very soon. I ran on the first train I could that said Birmingham New Street, and turns out it was Virgin without me looking into it. So what I did was that I immediately then traveled into the first class segment of the train and sat there until Rugby, and then just ran out as fast as I could. Thankfully, nothing happened.
To be honest, even if that train ticket I had was like the return part of the ticket, I would have been screwed because I took a proper look at the ticket. It was only valid on London North Western lines, which that Virgin train said you are not allowed to use London North Western line tickets on this.
Naturally.
And it also used a disabled person's rail card, which I don't own.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Jesus.
So
what?
Your side of the story just sounds like a disaster. Brian just sounds like he got a free first class half train journey.
yeah.
yeah,
Two very different
Two
sides.
sides of the coin.
two very different.
Oh man.
Man, that's
Jeez.
upsetting. That makes me really upset now.
So I think we can just sum up this entire month as just a big disaster for everybody.
God, it's a massive disaster.
Because Sneak Attack didn't fire at all, which made me very sad.
Nor did
So I was ready to finally ready to play Miku again with promos now.
You got them sick.
Huh?
You got them sick.
And then I heard about how Cabane was like, if I go 0x at Geek Retreat, I'm gonna buy a box of GGO, and then lo and behold, he's now building GGO.
Yeah.
And then at Milton Keynes, he was like, it's fine. If I don't win more than if I scrub out today as well, I'm buying everyone ice creams, and lo and behold, we all had ice cream.
Yeah, did you hear just how much how valued that one box he got was?
Oh yeah, it was like £5? No, £4 for a box of 5 ice lollies.
No, not the ice lollies, the GGO box.
Oh, the box, right? Yeah, he opened the SP Brainstorm, right? And then
he got the SP. He got the SP Ricky and pulled one of each of the most expensive double rares in order, pretty much.
Yeah, it was a really good box.
Then got a few packs extra afterwards, and ended up getting another copy of the Brainstorm.
Wow.
Man, I mean, on the bright side, my exams went okay.
It's a shame that GGO is not a great set.
I think it's pretty good.
I don't think it's that good.
I mean, for English, it's
it's fine.
For English, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
once I get my judge promo, I can sell it to him and make back that train ticket.
That box of lollies, though. I remember when he was up 2-1 or so, he was actually sitting across the table, and he was saying, "Yeah, I'm probably not going to get the chance to buy it anymore. I'm on a very good streak right now." And I think he proceeded to lose really, really badly that game. That's unfortunate.
Alright, we're sort of running out of time, but since Sam happened to join us, and he was at Geek Cheap Birmingham and even plays pretty well. Do you have any thoughts, Sam?
Yeah, that day was the one episode, the one tournament I've had in a while where I've actually done well with a deck I brought, and I was running ReZero that day, and it was just one of those days where most of my games just went how they should do, really. It wasn't one-sided either way, and the losses. Actually, the loss I got to Gemma was pretty bullshit, but other than that one game, everything felt pretty fairly won or lost. I lost twice to Matt Mead, which was depressing. Because, okay. So my top 4 game against Matt Mead, I was super ready to deal with him. I was sandbagging 2 anti-changes for the whole game, and he spends 2 turns at 1/6. So he does he's not hitting level 2 to early play, and then when he ends up refreshing himself to 2 after he's done his attacks and stuff, and it goes into my turn, and then I just take him to 3-0. So I don't even get the option to anti-change, because I was not expecting him to. I think he had decent compression at that point, so I was okay with going for 3 attacks because I was expecting them to cancel, and I needed the stock. And then he just doesn't cancel, goes to level 3, triple plays Priestess, and I just die from there because I can't deal with them.
Yeah, seems about right.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so another disaster, par for the course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
I mean, the month of May was just an absolute disaster for the UK as a whole, I think.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
All sorts of angles.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can take that, but
On the bright side, I guess the UK, as in UK players, are still top of the European League at least.
Yeah.
Somehow.
easy clap. But it doesn't matter because I'm not one of them. What's even the point?
It's only top 1 from the overall European thing this year, right?
Yeah, so it's designed the same way as last year, where people are giving the national invites first.
And then European, right?
And then European, yeah. So as long as we've got 3 UK players up there, we'll get ourselves an extra invite.
I mean, yeah, because it's fine, right? Because it goes. Obviously, this hasn't been updated with War Games yet, but it goes like Ewan, then Christopher, then Diego, and then Brandon, and then Matt. So
yeah, that should change.
As long as it stays that way, obviously our top 3 UK can shuffle around, but as long as it's that, it should be fine. Yeah,
that should actually change so that Bryan becomes second in Europe even. So that's even more
right, because you overtook you. Yeah.
Yeah, I should, because I haven't been to any other event this episode. So
yeah,
I should
I
jump
think
quite a bit.
next episode will be quite interesting because it will be the last one before rough scores get replaced.
Mm.
So
I actually can't make any other tournaments after the next one.
Oh,
I'd be out the country, either deported or on holiday. So either way, I'm not going to be there.
Oh man,
deported or on holiday.
it better be on holiday, Bryan.
Yeah.
If you don't risk of getting deported, just fucking. I've got my flat till July, man. I'll just hide out, man. Just fucking hide out, man.
Hide out, but come to Weiss tournaments.
Comes to Weiss tournament, gets arrested.
Oh dear. Right, I think that's a good closing point. But yeah, to sum up, what a disaster of a month, pretty much. Yeah. The title race in football was close. Maybe the title race in Weiss will also be close.
I mean, hey, Brandon. I'm just going to say, right, if I actually attend next episode, I can get 6 scores. It's not too late for me.
That's true.
I just have to decide if I actually care about Weiss this year.
So late to the party.
Considering I can't even go to Rome.
See, the fact that this is an option now that Soul Bonus doesn't exist, how good does that feel?
I mean, it don't feel that good because even if I do manage to make the most ridiculous comeback, I'll just be passing my invite down anyway.
Are we allowed to pass invites down, actually?
Only once. Yeah, I had the case last year where I very barely finished second, but the last tournament of the season was the day I was in Lisbon, and then I won Lisbon. So I barely finished third, and then I just passed it down to Lee anyway.
It's just in the event I get the invitation and I can't go. Then
yeah, that is a cool thing. You can pass it down.
Oh man, imagine
you need to decide that before the the special qualifier, right? Because you need to see who from the top 16 moves up.
Yeah. Actually, I think perhaps. Oh wait, no, they did work like that last time. Yeah, you would have to do it before the special qualifier.
Yeah.
Imagine the worst timeline where me and Bryan top the UK ladder, and only one of us can pass down, and neither of us can go.
And
Yeah,
I've just taken a look at the ladder. There's 101 registered players on here.
Yeah, we've
That's
broken
Pretty
insane.
wild.
Actually, the top
you guys
the
been on
top
the app.
16 race looks to be pretty close. If we're like
Yeah.
counting 19 to 25 or so, it's going to be quite a fight.
it's looking really close for round. We're into an interesting last quarter.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's enough time.
Yeah.
So see you guys next time.
All right.
Yeah. See you
Bye-bye.
next time.
So yeah.
So yeah.